Databases are extremely powerful in Notion, and it's kind of what makes it as useful as it is, but I'm not going to go too in depth just yet. I will briefly touch on it because I want to talk more about the relation property and the rollup, given that it took me quite a little bit to really understand how to utilize it. So I'm going to break it down as simply as I can using Pokemon. So let's get started. So here are all of the databases that I own in Notion, okay? This is all the ones that I use for all of my projects and to keep myself organized. Now, here, I'm going to talk about first what's called my Pokemon Games database, okay? So in case you are new, what a database is, it's like a collection of information, and it can be about kind of anything you want. You know, you can have a database like you see on my screen here about, you know, like all the Pokemon that exist. Or you can have a database of your company members in case you have a business. Or if you're in college, you could have a database about, let's say, all of your schoolwork, right? Your classes. So the reason databases are useful is because you can have specific information that you write in your database that you can relate to and find or gather about later, depending on how you need it. For example, I think this would be better to show you why I made a Pokemon game database, right? So let's say here in my Pokemon games database, I have all the Pokemon games that exist. Now, I did this just for me because I am collecting Pokemon games. So what I did here was I wrote the title of the game, okay? I have it organized by release date, just so you know why, like how I got it in order, okay? But anyway, I have all the titles. I check off the ones that I currently own, just so I know which ones I do, which I can make this shorter like that. There. So this property is about me owning the game. Next, I wrote the platform it's for, because, you know, Pokemon games have come out for different consoles, so I got to make sure I know which one I'm getting it for. When was it released? And I did this specifically so I can go in order in which the games were released, but then also it's more like a fun fact for myself. I just think it's cool to know when one game got released compared to another. I have what generation it's for, which this can be even smaller, maybe like that generation. So is it a first gen, second gen, third gen, fourth gen? You know what I'm saying. And then lastly, game type. Basically, is it just a main Pokemon game or is it a spin-off game? So with this being said, this right here is a database. It's a database about Pokemon games, which means it's a collection of information about Pokemon games. And I put in this database the information that I think is important for me to know about the Pokemon games, then I can refer to those later on. For example, like if I wanted to know really quick, okay, which Pokemon games do I currently own? Well, then I can filter this entire database with the own property, okay? And I'm gonna click it that own is what? Like I want to know which ones I own, which means they're checked boxes. So I'm gonna hit check, save for everyone. And then now look at this. Now I can quickly see which Pokemon games I already own. And then if I wanted to specifically see the ones that I do not own, I just switch this to unchecked. And there you go. And then now I can load more. And here are all the games that I still need to collect, which are definitely a lot. And this kind of shows just the kind of person I am. I think I love Pokemon, obviously, and I love to collect. So, but with that being said, I have a lot of games to own. And what's great is because I have all this information, this will make my collection or my collecting a lot quicker, mainly the platform section. I love that I can tell which games I need it for and for what console, and then if I own it, I can just check it off. Now here I have a database of the first 50 Pokemon. I made this really quick just because this is going to be very helpful in the example that I'm about to give, but just know I now have another database that I made and it's just for the first 50. So now let's get into how I would use the relation and rollup feature and these databases. So I made a new page here called sample page for databases. Okay, I gave it an icon like always. Now here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is, let's say I am going to start a YouTube challenge where in my videos I want to play the original games. So let's say I want to play red and blue, maybe I'll throw in yellow, and then I want to also catch the first 25 Pokemon. How fast can I catch the first 25 Pokemon in the games? Okay, in red and blue, and technically yellow. So here's what I would do. I'm gonna first create a database. I'm gonna do inline. So I don't want to go too into detail with inline and full page. Just for now, let's just do inline. In the future, I plan to make an even more in-depth video. So once I hit inline, I'm gonna have this database pop up, and I'm gonna make it new empty data source. That's because this is a new database that I'm making that has no information from anything else. So now I'm gonna call this Pokemon Challenges, or Pokemon Challenges, I guess. This would be good if you're a streamer or you make YouTube videos about Pokemon, whatever. Now here you go. This is the database. This is just a simple blank database now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna write the challenge I want to do. So I want to catch the first 25 Pokemon as fast as I can. Great. So now that I have my task, right, which I'm gonna go and add a property right here. I'm gonna do checkbox really quick. Checkbox is just so when I know I'm complete, I can just check it off like that. All right, next. Now, because I want to refer to Pokemon Red and Blue, because what if I was like, you know what? I actually don't know what the first 25 Pokemon are. And sure, you can Google it and you can create your own list, use Google, whatever, but this is the point of a database, is you have access to the information you made and you can filter it, use it however you want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to relate this database, this Pokemon Challenges database, okay? So again, this is a database I made, okay? I'm gonna click this plus sign. I'm going to hit relation. What relation is you're basically like handshaking. You're basically saying, hey, I am the Pokemon Challenges database. I would like to work with you, my Pokemon, my Pokemon Games database, right? So I'm basically introducing them so they can work together. So I'm gonna click that, and now it says right here, related to what? Well, I want to relate this Pokemon Challenges database to the Pokemon Games database. And then once you click this, it's gonna say it's related to this one, perfect. Is there a limit to how much information you want to like port in or share? There's not. And then do you want this to be a two-way relation? Basically what it's saying there is, do you want the Pokemon Challenges database to also be able to get pulled into the Pokemon Games database? I do not, because I don't ever plan to use my Pokemon Games database as my challenge database, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not gonna write a challenge that I wanna do in the Pokemon Games one. So there's no point to relate it. Like, that's how my mind's saying. It's like, I want you here, I don't want you there. Simple as that. So I'm not gonna check that off. I'm gonna hit add relation. All right, so then now here you are. You added this property now. So if I hover right here, it even says Pokemon Games database. So when I click it, I can now click any of the games that I have in this database. So I'm going to select Pokemon Red and Blue. Link page right here, bam. So then now the cool thing about doing it like this, right, is the fact that I now can now see which game I'm playing. And then if I need more information about the game, I hit the link and then I hit Pokemon Red and Blue International, and there you go. This information exists in the other database, but I'm seeing it through here now. Now here's like the platform is for, the year, the generation, what kind of game it is, do I own it, and here's a little bit of text, like flavor, I guess you will, about the games itself, right? But now here's the thing. I want to see this platform, and I want to see if I own it. I want to see these 2 bits of information on this database, because that's glanceable information that I want right away. I don't want to have to click Pokemon Red and Blue 2 times just to get here to see what platform I need it for and if I already own it or not. So that is where the rollup property is coming into play. So think of rollup as, all right, relation, we're working together, great. But I happen to see, think of rollup like a magnifying glass, because that's the icon they use. I happen to see that you have information about the games that I want access to. Meaning, I want to know also what platform it's for, so I can link it here. And I also want to know if I own it. And you have that information. So let's link it here. That's what the rollup is doing, essentially. So when I hit rollup, so I'm gonna hit the plus sign, I'm gonna hit rollup here. I'm gonna have to click it. Now it's gonna say select an existing relation. It's actually already there, the Pokemon Games database. Now, what property do you want? So the Pokemon Games database is now saying to the Pokemon Challenges database, hey, you're right, I have that information. Which specifically do you want access to? I want to know what platform it's for. All right, and done, and there you go. I pulled this in now from the database that Pokemon Red and Blue exists in. And I'm about to do the same again. Roll up, click it, Pokemon Games. I also want to know if I own it. And you have that information. Boom, there you go, done. So now I know and have these 2 bits of information here, which is so useful. Okay, so again, I have a whole database for challenges and I linked it to my games so I know which game it's for, and then I linked I used the roll-up feature to pull in even more information from the game itself. So this is a kind of quick explanation on how powerful databases even are, and why it's kind of cool when you make multiple databases for certain things in your life, and how you can pull the information together, and that's what makes Notion so powerful. Now, there's one bit of information left that we haven't done yet, and that is the database for the first 50 Pokemon. Because remember, this challenge to catch the first 25 Pokemon as fast as I can, if I open this page up, because this is a page itself, the name, there's nothing there. So right here, what you could do is you can create a simple checklist, and I can start writing like, all right, I know the first Pokemon is Bulbasaur, and then the second one is Ivysaur. You can create it manually if you like, but because I already have a database that tells me the first 50, I can just link it in here. I can just pull that information into this page to make this even faster. So how am I gonna do that? So I'm gonna do /TABL. I'm basically writing table. I'm gonna hit table view, because I'm just adding a database of existing information so I can view it here. So I'm gonna hit table view. I'm gonna hit link to existing data source. And now I'm gonna link it to right here, my first 50 Pokemon. Bam. And there you go. So now here are the first 50 Pokemon. And now if you notice, they're not in order, but you can see that it goes up to 50. I can now sort this by the number. And I'm gonna do number ascending. So then that way I can see, starting from 1 all the way down to 50, the Pokemon that I need. But I don't need 50, I only need 25. So what I'm gonna do is click right here in the settings. I'm gonna hit layouts right here. And I'm gonna change the load limit from 50 to 25. What this is doing is, hey database, you have 50 Pokemon, you loaded, the load limit is set to 50, great. I don't need 50 though, I wanna see less of that. I coincidentally only wanna see 25, and I'm gonna hit the 25 load limit right here, bam. So now when I scroll down, instead of going all the way down to 50, it stops at 25, and then I get to hit load more when I want more of that information. So I'm gonna hide now this database title just to make it a little cleaner. And here you go. So now for my challenge of catching the first 25 Pokemon as fast as I can, I already have all the information I need. I have the Pokemon, the type it is, the generation. I even have some fun facts about the height, width, and the flavor text. But here's the last bit, the last little catch. I also need a checklist so I can check it off as I'm capturing them in the game, right? And that's easy. All you're gonna do is hit this little plus button. You're gonna add a property. We're gonna add a little checkbox. Squeeze it down. Drag it on over to the left. And there you go. So now I have a fully ready database for my Pokemon challenges. And that's just for one challenge. What if I'm a streamer and I have 50 of them? Or for myself, I'm just a collector. What if I just want to collect games and I want a nice way to organize them and check them off as I collect them? Like, this is the power of databases. This is the power of a relation using this. And this is the power of a roll-up right here. And then the greatest part is you can put these bits of information wherever you need it. If I'm capturing Bulbasaur, I'll check it off. Going down the row here. Like, this is I think a good way to explain it. I know I kind of went a little more in depth. I really hope I explained it well though, because I know sometimes I feel like I go on a tangent, but this is why I love this. This is why it's so useful. And yes, it's time consuming sometimes to set things up, but once you set it up, like the amount of time I actually save in return when I start fleshing things out and using them the way I feel like they should be used, it is amazing. So if you want more tutorials, subscribe right now. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section. And above all, give this video a like so I know if it was useful. I'll see you guys in the next video.